What is up? A little update here. Got my friend's Hillbilly Deluxe 1973 Plymouth Duster here in my garage. And my garage is now a mess. He's been working on this. Here's his all his engine parts for that 360 that he put about $4,000 into, and then just moved around for the last over 10 years and allowed it to rust. Those heads are still in pretty good condition. Those are stainless steel valves, so they weren't going to rust. Those are 202s, those Hemi springs. But the crank, look at that. This thing was assembled and balanced, and the crank is rusted like it's been in a junkyard. And so is the engine block over here. So we got to send that off to the machine shop sometime, because they assembled that and balanced that for like 9,000 RPMs or something. Pretty crazy. So, still got the 318 in this thing, and I'm going to show you what I did. My plasma cutter had a little bit of fun on this car. Put in an A-833 4-speed manual transmission. This is actually a 3-speed plus overdrive, because what they do in this transmission is they put an overdrive gear set in the 3rd gear position, and then you just kind of you put the lever on backwards, so actually when you go up to 3rd, you're actually going into the 4th gear's 1-to-1 position. Can't see how this works. And then when you put it down in the 4th, you're actually pulling it into the 3rd gear position, which is loaded with the overdrive. So there you go. It's kind of a goofy. It's got one of those wannabe Hurst shifters or whatever it is. It is a Hurst, I think, or something. Yep. Doesn't have a knob. He didn't have that, so I just stuck this on here for extra leverage. I cut this hole because evidently that's the only way they put this in an A body, which is what a Duster is. So, and then the rods he had were made for the front mount on this transmission, so I just extended them by welding on extensions, and I made a new rod for the reverse. Reverse is real fun to get to. Let's see here. There we go. Reverse. So it is kind of cool watching the levers move from up here. Oops, it's reversed. Okay, so let's see. Okay, that's 3rd, 4th. That's 1st and 2nd. So he almost was joking about, instead of, I guess you got to put a new metal tunnel cover over these things to make the stuff fit. So that's why I just hacked it like this. These 2 rods are actually going above the transmission and torque. This bar cannot be cut because that's got tension on it from the torsion bars on this car. They don't have coil springs; they have torsion bars. So that is like that. So he's joking about like covering this with like clear, like, you know, plexiglass or Lexan or whatever that you buy at Home Depot, so you can see you can kind of monitor everything inside the car. So it's got a bunch of freaking wires down here hanging. A bunch of my way. I took the plasma cutter, cut his brake pedal in half like that, so it's short. And then this we took out of some little shitbox Hyundai car. I did that. I cut a hole, and it's got all the freaking wires in the way. But I got it in there. It's working. It's working. So I don't know if you look down in there. Let's see the rod. It moves it. So I'll see that. Okay, here's under the hood. The old rattle trap Hillbilly mobile. Got the 318 still in it. It's been bastardized a little bit. It's got like a Chevy style HEI distributor and freaking Chevy alternator. Always 650 double pumper. Here is where I decided to, I mean, this thing pissed me off yesterday. No flat spot to really put the clutch assembly, so I wound up cutting a big square hole into his firewall there, and then made this piece of flat steel that the master cylinder and the clutch pedal, you know, inside would sandwich around, would mount to, and then I just tack welded it, bolted it and tack welded it to the metal of his car. And then here we just took this out of like another car for the reservoir. It actually all worked out, so it works. Underneath the old pig duster. I mean, this transmission, he had it sitting around for a long time. It's a greasy old bastard. There it is. There's all those linkages that you got to attach. And then there, let's see. I can see it. There's kind of, the header is in the way of everything, but basically up in there, there it is. There's the slave cylinder. And I want to just kind of tack welding on like a little nut for a thing, little cone spacer thing for the round end of the piston to push against the rod. So when there's the line connected, so it actually worked to put a clutch in there without changing the whole thing to like an old, you know, these cars did come with like 3 on the trees from the slant 6s and whatnot. So I don't know. I tried to talk him into just junking the car and paying a couple grand into buying a used Mustang, you know, but he wants to keep fixing this old beater. So floor already had some rust in it, so that hole was there, and then I made that hole. Cut it right out. So his dash is the next thing I got to talk him into changing. I want to pull that, put a piece of flat plate there, and put all new gauges in there. Probably a digital speedometer next to a tachometer. Maybe we'll put, you know, an analog speedometer, but it'll be digital basically. Not that thing. I've done that before to spice up an old car. Did that to an old Camino, and did to my friend, brother-in-law's old Mustang to modernize it. You know, we don't have to have all the stupid gauges hanging everywhere. We could just put them all in a new in the dash, so it'll be all more modern and everything. Anyway, we did try to take it for a drive earlier, but it started raining on us, so got a couple minutes out of that.